and my mic wasn't on. Can you guys still hear me? Oh, let me turn my volume off on this or it's going to be weird. Wow, do you hear that echo, echo, echo? It's the coolest and most bizarre thing when that happens. All right, so if somebody's here and joining. All right, so as I said, everyone assumes that Disney is all about kids. And that's fine. I mean, there is a lot of Disney that is kids. And when I just turned off what I needed. And it's exciting and it's fun. And the first time I went, I was 7 years old. So, yes, there's something absolutely valid about that. However, it's important to understand that it's not just for kids. See, and I hate that. It's not just for kids. See, and I hate that. How do you turn this off? There we go. Sorry, that was just weird. So whoever's here, say hi. And again, this is a chat, so I am looking for conversation a little bit back and forth. We got Kat, DJ, I have no idea how to pronounce that, but hi, I'm going to call you Kat, if that's okay. If it's not, let me know what you want me to address you as. So Disney for adults. There are a number of places. I mean, kids are pretty much allowed everywhere with a few exceptions. So I'm going to start with those. The Edison in Disney Springs is, hi, Joe. Yeah, I had to turn the right sound on. So Disney Springs has been upscaled from what used to be Downtown Disney and Pleasure Island. And Pleasure Island was the really cool, hi, Mr. Drew. Is it gotten? Yeah, I know. I set it up for one microphone and the microphone turned itself off. So I apologize for that. We should be good to go. So Pleasure Island was an adults only section. And I loved it. I'll be really honest. I did. It is set up on the premise of Pinocchio's, the kids where they all went to the place where they all got to be Pleasure Islandy. It was, it was you. It was not my snafu. It was your snafu. How exciting. So, they had the Adventurers Club, they had comedy clubs, they had dance clubs. It was open till 2 a.m. and it was all about the adult experience. And then with all the rebuilds in Disney Springs, etc., it just didn't become feasible. It wasn't realistic for that kind of a section. And they wanted to make the area more inclusive. Then recently, I was pleased to see that when they did Disney Springs, that they started doing a couple adults only things. So the Edison does a burlesque show after, I believe, 11 o'clock at night. No kid. Oh, it's 21 and older. And they have, I think they do dancing there as well, but it's a place where if you want no kids around, you're going to be able to do it. A lot of the activities that are no kids or very, very limited kids are all going to end up being after hours or late night. Hold on, Mr. Joe. I'm trying to see what you said. Exactly. They have to get to one side. And then, Joe, they would have to go like all the way out to where the parking was to try to get to, if Disney Springs or Downtown Disney went like this, and that's the water side, then yeah. So they would start here, hit Pleasure Island, have to go all the way around to finish to go to Earl Sandwich or any of the places out there. So Disney Springs has the Edison. Now they have a lot of restaurants and bars and things. Kids are allowed in, but truthfully, some of them just aren't like a kid vibe. Like Wine Bar George is all about trying wines and pairing wines. When you have something where it's themed a little more alcoholically, you're going to find less kids showing up. Now, that does not mean there aren't kids there. Those of you who've worked at the Ren Fair know what I'm talking about. When my friend and I went to Wine Bar George, Mr. Drew and I went to Wine Bar, there was a family and there was one little kid there that looked kind of bored out of his mind while everyone else was enjoying the experience. I always feel bad for the kids for that, because that's not what their world should be about, is sitting there and watching parents talk for 3 hours while they drink. But, you kind of have to play it by ear. Who knows what the rest of the day was like. Hopefully the kid was meeting Mickey and doing other really wonderful things that would be kid friendly. So you've got the Hangar Bar, Josh Lindsay's Hangar Bar. You've got lots of opportunities all through Disney Springs. And while I didn't, the first few years when it opened, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I didn't want to bother, but I'll be honest, I'm consciously plotting in time to go to Disney Springs every time I go now because I enjoy it so much. Again, being a foodie, being an adult, there's so much to do. Now, while it is not just for kids, the VR experience that they have, especially the Star Wars VR experience they have at the Void, is also kind of amazing. We should have bought a. I know we should have got that little kid. I'm trying to remember if it was. I can't remember if it was a girl or a boy. I think it actually was a girl. But yeah, I felt bad, and I'm like, but the desserts were the chocolate with wine, or I think they had like one other very adult kind of dessert. Nothing like cupcake or fun for a kid. Who knows what the kids' dietary issues were, but so yeah, it would have been really nice. What are the restaurant bar we went to with the steampunk vibe? That is the Edison. That was the one I was talking about. And yeah, so the Edison upstairs, there's a little tiny bar of like 8 seats, maybe. And that's where Drew and I sat and we had our drinks. And then if you go down to the main level, down where the restaurants are, the restrooms are, the restaurant main part is, etc. They also have a place where a live band will play, and they've got the ability to hang burlesque stuff. Like I said, they do a burlesque show. Now, I don't know how much of it is circus acrobatic stuff and how much of it is adult behavior. I don't know that it's going to be wildly adult just because of the venue, but it was definitely not for kids. The Edison needs some selections of bitters. I know. And Drew, remind me to talk to you about bitters. I know where I can get you grapefruit, cacao, and walnut bitters if you are interested. But that's a whole different thing. Hello, Miss Susan. Welcome to the thing. Okay, so I'm so discombobulated. The thing that normally, I'm going to disappear for a second. The thing that normally holds my phone kind of broke, so it's not clipping where it needs to clip, and I can hook my phone up to it, sort of, maybe. Oh no, so yeah, the whole thing kind of broke. So I can hold it like this, but that doesn't do me any good. So I'm going to lean it here and hope that I can see the chat comments, which I'm still not seeming to be able to. I hate when it does this. La la la. Give me a moment, guys, as I work the logistics out on this. I want to see chat. Try that again. That's where I think I got it last time. All right. So, I mean, I'm probably like, beating the dead horse, but Disney Springs is a fabulous place. There we go. For the adults only kind of stuff. And again, as the evenings progress, they get later and later. One of the other things that they're starting to do a lot of, I have not partaken of this. Oh yeah, absolutely. Susan, you want to go. We only did Raglan Road. Yeah. And actually I was really anti-Raglan Road, and I'm not going to go, and I don't like Irish music, and blah, blah, blah. It's my only little rant. And then I went for just a lunch at the bar by myself. They had random music playing in the background, no live performers, and it was a lot of fun. Had a really great time. I got a strawberry and lime hard cider. Really, and with the heat and that you get down there, it was just very bright, very light, very enjoyable. I was very happy with it. Susan and Drew are now talking about the Edison and stuff, so let them chat on that, and I'll keep going. So, yeah, and then the second time, Drew and I went with some other people, and we sat on the outside. But at night, they do live entertainment. I might be dragging a very purple friend of ours from down south with me to Disney Springs the next time I'm down there in June. We're going to be trying to hit Art Smith's Homecoming, which is, Art Smith is a James Beard chef, one of the top chef guys, but he's a Florida local. So Homecoming is down home food with local only locally sourced products. So I'm very excited. Even the decorations are all locally sourced stuff. So the fried chicken is supposed to be amazing. Got that recommended by my friend Marcy, and so she's planning at this point on joining me and doing dinner there, and then we'll probably hit the Edison, and I might drag her over to Raglan Road because I think she'd appreciate it. Just friends wanted an Irish pub and they were packed, so we ended up doing dockside margaritas, which is still very good, and some live music there. Yeah, it was, and again, an excellent adult evening. That's the best way I think to describe it. So pretty much any of the activities. I mean, again, like the balloon, probably kids would go up in the balloon, but if you do it at night, or the aqua car, So you could drive the aqua car into well, not you personally, you have a driver, but drive out there. I have no idea if there's limitations on kids. I assume the kids have to sit on the inside so they don't climb out of the car. But so yeah, you definitely have a lot of chill, kind of relaxed things. Yeah, that chicken looked amazing. I'm not a huge deviled eggs fan, but it's one of the few gluten-free things on that menu, so I'm thinking I might try it. So, and I am planning on vlogging that trip. I'm not sure how much live stream Facebook versus vlogging I'll be doing, but I'm going to pack and bring the camera down with me and see what I can record and make happen for that experience. That being said, so Disney Springs all over the place. During the day, yeah, it's a kids bar, but or even the top of the Coca-Cola thing is a bar. That's where we got Beverly's Revenge. That's, and during the day, there'll be a lot of kids there. But as the evening progresses, it gets it gets less and less. Now, while downtown Disney's Pleasure Island was open till 2 a.m., looking at the schedule currently while I'm down there, especially in June, the Disney Springs area is only going to be open till midnight. So they do cut your days a little bit shorter. Even the bar at the hotel we're staying at is open till 12:30. So it's possible, and again, a lot of this kind is not the one I would want. There is deluxe, moderate, and the least expensive category. That least expensive category. My trip is currently looking at June 12-ish to the 15th or 16th. Value. Thank you, Jode. Value. So the and right now I've got a room to myself in Port Orleans, French Quarter. Although, as I said, my purple friends may be joining me for the first night there. So we'll see how all of that goes. But so the value resorts generally don't have bars. They're really there for families who want to who need an inexpensive room for 5 people because they know they're spending money on the food or the tickets or everything else. So you don't generally see bars there. They might have something in the quick service you could take back to your room. And watch those bars. They sometimes close earlier than the hours. If there's no crowd, you're right. Exactly. They're going to close early because why spend the staffing to keep it open? Trader Sam's. Okay, we'll see. Trader Sam's is an entertainment venue, and it's an institution because they also have one at Disneyland. Trader Sam's, for those who have not been, is at the Polynesian. I believe they open around 4. They might open earlier because the Poly bars seem to open a little bit early. And as you sit in there, if you order a drink that's got an unusual, like the pearl, I think the goddess on the wall talks to you. If you order a dark and stormy, the pictures on on the sides, like the tiki room, kind of go dark and stormy. So it's a lot of fun. I've been warned that if you sit in certain chairs as you're sitting, they start to drop down very slowly, so you don't realize it's happening. 4 p.m. Thank you. Yeah, Trader Sam's is a hoot. I've sat there. I've been there about 3 or 4 times, and I've sat with complete strangers because I always go during Christmas normally, so it's always super crowded. But this is a nice, more mellow time. That I'll be going now, and I'm currently, my schedule is limited enough that I might not have a break there, but I'm gonna see. Because I've already started the spreadsheet. I wasn't going to do it. I was going to just freeform it. And then I went, no, I can't. Especially because I just found out Universal is opening the new Hagrid Fantastic Creatures roller coaster, which is replacing Dueling Dragons. It's family friendly, and it opens on the 13th of June while I'm there. So I'm going to be looking at the annual pass cost since I'll be going back later in the year and deciding what's worth it to me, and maybe doing a partial day over at, if I have an annual pass, over at that park to rope drop it and try to get on the Hagrid ride and just experience that to say I did it. It's a roller coaster, so I won't be thrilled about it, but I want to say I did it and I want to see what it's about, and then just head on my merry way back to whatever else I'm going to be doing. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Bring proper tiki gear. What is proper tiki gear, Drew? You're going to have to give me some more information at that. All right. So any of the bars, again, any of the restaurants. Now, adult activity that I've done more than once. There's, of course, Epcot's Drinking Around the World, which you can do with family. Just drink something not alcoholic. And I always push for drinking and eating around the world. So that, you get a snack and a beverage. Just so you're not getting drunk off your ass. It is harder to do the drinking around the world in the summer because of dehydration issues. I've, again, been doing it in Christmas, so it's a lot easier because the temperatures aren't so bad. I think the worst I've ever gotten was like an 85 or 88 degree day. And one year it was 40 degrees. And not, my favorite part of this, my friend Lance and I went, we're doing drinking around the world. And the first country we went to go hit was Canada, or Canada, as I like to call it. And at Canada, we went to get, I don't drink beer because of gluten issues, etc. So the only thing we had wanted to get was this thing called the Torontopolitan, which is a slushy Cosmo that they, but they called it a Torontopolitan. I think they used a vodka that was from Canada. So we went up to get that, and they went, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's too cold for the machines to be running, so we can't serve the drink." I said, "Wait a minute. In Canada, it's too cold to serve drinks for Florida." Wow. So that was the only country we didn't drink at, and then we went back a couple days later when at least the machines were running and we got the drink then. And I have a picture of like a gloved hand holding a Torontopolitan that I love. What do we got here? Yeah, I know they're going to make it a huge event. See, it opens on the 13th, so I'm thinking of going on the 14th or the 15th in the morning and not seeing the big production. I'll see how I feel. I mean, the other option is if I don't end up having someone go with me and stay with me, who knows, I might do dinner at or cancel or change my dinner reservation at Homecoming and then go and see if I can close out Universal and try it then and see it on the day of the big production. But, we'll see. Actually, Drew had a Sazerac at the bar at the French Quarter, and I don't think he was impressed with it. Yeah, I know the whole month's going to be crazy, but it'll be fun. It'll be enjoyable. Wow, I want this higher. Okay. So other really cool things you can do that do not allow kids. All right, so this one's a little cost prohibitive, but I highly recommend it if you can manage it, if you can afford it, and if there's even a reservation available. Victoria and Albert's. It is a 7 or 10 course sit-down meal. You can get wine pairings. You don't have to. It will be infinitely less expensive without wine pairings. I ended up going semi-whole hog. I did the baseline 10-course meal with wine pairing. So that means 10 pours of wine, and it was at least 3 ounces of each, and it might have been more, but it wasn't a full 8 ounces. So wine with every course, 2 servers for your table, and they're only handling 2 tables. As at one point I went to the restroom, and I was informed that they did not just fold my napkin, they got me a new one. It's insanely good. What do I got here? I love them. I get everywhere. I've just not a good. Oh, this. Yeah, I know, but you didn't like their Sazerac. That's what I was saying. V&A, yes. Other than all the travel channels out here, really attracted us. We have such a busy schedule. Well, here's the thing. You can play the dinner at Victoria and Albert's 4 hours. Expected to be 3 to. If you do the 10 course, it was 4 hours, because they will not even fire your next course until you have completed the one before it. So it is really about you experiencing things as fresh, as spot on, as ready as they can be. It is, in addition, they give you, the lady gets a rose when she leaves. They give you a little 3 handmade chocolates that you take with you when you leave. They, I'm trying to think of some of the extra bells and whistles. They will, not only will you give them your allergies before you go and tell them what you can and can't have, and then they will call you the week before and say, "Hi, we have this person and we've listed this, and this is the allergies. Is there anything else?" And they'll do it for everybody in the party. And then they build your menu on your allergies. So Drew had an issue with a couple vegetables that are allergens for him, and I have my chickpeas and crustaceans and gluten and my huge list. Oh crap! And they built the menu. So some of the entrees and appetizers, all the different courses, the tasting menus were the same for both of us when you looked at the menu, but a lot of them were different. The best thing I got was specifically based on my allergens, and it was a cauliflower panna cotta with a little bit of black caviar and 3 little, honestly, like that big, little tiny potato chips as the amuse-bouche. It was the best damn, one of the best bites of food I've ever had in my life. I can't even describe it. It was one of the best bites of food I've ever had in my life. Buttery, cool, it was amazing and salty and wonderful. It was perfect. All right, so I'm missing some comments. Yeah, and well, we can do it even if it's not Christmas when you're not sick. I think that will help make a difference, Mr. Drew. Well, okay, Drew, you said you had to pack a suit and a tie. You didn't actually have to do that. You had to have a jacket. You did not need a tie. They don't require ties if you look at it. And it can just be a dress jacket and dress pants. So you are dressing up. But, again, if you're looking in adult activity, if you go on a cruise and you have the captain's table night or the gala night, you dress up, you bring that one out for that experience. So in that case, it is truly an adult experience. And I didn't mind it. I could wear nice khakis or nice pants, like a pantsuit. But it had to be upscale. I don't mind that for one night. For that kind of a special, it's a Michelin 5-star restaurant, I believe. I have no qualms with that, personally. But yeah, it is. No, it was not truffles. It was caviar. The little black stuff you saw on the side was a black caviar. Oh, so good. The luggage hit on that's a luggage in my part. It'll be there for many days unless you get a DVCs. True. But again, if you bring like a nice pair of black pants, Joe, nice pair of black pants, and just add a jacket, and she, has just brings a nice skirt, you can, with maybe not t-shirts, but a more generic top, a nicer top, you could make that work. Throw some jewelry in. Flats are fine, or probably not sneakers. If you can do one other pair of shoes that are a little nicer, yeah, it is a bit of a hit. But by the same token, when I pack, what I'll also do is I'll take my biggest suitcase, and then I'll bring with it a collapsible bag that fits in the suitcase that I stuff everything else around so that on the way back I can still get souvenirs and still get stuff and expand out. So you have your pride? I'm not sure I get that one, Mr. Drew. I missed somewhere in the conversation there. French Quarter has a laundry machine. Yeah, and actually every Disney hotel does have laundry facilities available. You have to with kids, when you're packing for 5 people and stuff. When I was 7 years old and we took the train, the Amtrak down from New Jersey, where I was from, they lost our luggage. It ended up in Miami and South Carolina and about 5 other states. I mean, it was like my cousin's family and my family. So about 3 days in the trip, because we had our little carry-on-y type stuff, we were out of clothes. And my aunt and my mom threw everybody under the covers in the assorted rooms that we had at the Polynesian. And the 2 of them went and did everybody's laundry and then came back and we went back out. And then our luggage showed up the next day. So that was an experience. I still remember just, laying under the covers and laughing. Yeah, well, I don't know how. I don't remember. I was 7, like I said, but it was kind of amusing. Oh, the tie with the suit. Well, that's fashion. That's not pride, my dear. You do have a style plate. Told us the woman who was there in jeans and flip flops. Oh my God. Well, yeah, if you can afford to eat at Victoria and Albert's like every week or every other week, yeah, I bet you they would let you get by with a couple things. Yeah. It was amusing. So suffice to say. All right. So back to the topic at hand. We're talking adults at Disney. So Victoria and Albert's is an incredible meal. It's definitely something you're not going to see kids at. Most of the bars, same thing. Misner's Lounge. Now you don't have to drink alcohol. I realize that a lot of these activities we're talking about are alcohol locations, and that's kind of what keeps the kids out. But by the same token, when we went to the Edison, I was sitting at the bar and I had an incredible drink that had no alcohol in it. Josh Lindsay's Hanger Bar, same thing, had a wonderful, very refreshing drink. No alcohol in it whatsoever. But still, the mixology is really high status because they're looking for, they're catering to people with more advanced palates than I want chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese and a Coke. So there is that kind of flexibility of flavor profile of et cetera. Nothing toward the high tea experience. I'm yes, I'm getting there next. Thank you for reminding me, actually, Drew, because that was on my list. Now, the high tea, Grand Floridian does this. They also do it in Disneyland. they do the Grand Floridian in the second floor, I believe it is, has a tea room. And it's only from like, depending on the day, it either starts at 2 to 6 or it goes, or 12 to 6. And it varies from day to day. Hello, more people who've joined in. Please say hi. What do we got? Okay. I'm glad you're having fun with your crawdaddies. So suffice to say, but the tea was lovely. The food, you get 3 courses baseline, and then you can add in champagne, you can add in caviar, and also with Victoria and Albert's, you can upscale your meals as well. There are a whole bunch of ways, like you could get Ostera caviar, which is like another $225 for just your little tiny tasting portion. You can get Kobe beef course added in, so they have all these up. So taking you back a step. So I did the 10 courses with wine pairings, but no add-ons. And with tip, tax, and everything, total was $485. Okay. And that was 2 years ago. Now, if you just did the meal, I think it was only before tip and tax, it was either $185 or $235. I think those were the 2 options. So it's infinitely less expensive. The wine pairings alone were about $150. So please take that into account when you're looking at cost-wise. But it is an extraordinary experience. The tea. Yeah, the tea was wonderful, and I've done the tea multiple times, and I will continue to do the tea. Adult day. We started first thing in the morning, and we went to the spa. We got facials. Then we went and did our afternoon tea. Then we went back to the spa because it's just across the parking lot, and we had massages. And then we got dressed up really nice because you've got their stuff right on property there. The spa, you've got showers, you've got tables to relax, you in the lockers there in the room. And then we used the valet parking because you're eating at Victoria and Albert's, gave stuff to the valet person and put all our stuff away, tipped them for doing that, and then went to Victoria and Albert's and had dinner. Oh, it was a great experience. That is one hell of an adult day. It was not cheap. It was not cheap. I think that day probably cost each of us around $1,000. Well, all right, I ate more at dinner, so mine's a little more, but I'm going to say it was probably close to $1,000 when all was said and done. So it's something you have to save to, you have to work to, but that was probably one of the most amazing adult days I think I've ever had at Disney. The hot tea, the hot tea and coffee. Well, and actually, Drew, the hot tea and coffee comes with Victoria and Albert's meal. That's inclusive. If you add sodas or something, that's additional. They have this really cool distillation process on the tea and coffee. I think I posted some video of it on my Facebook page from 2 years ago, but it's wow. It's like a Bunsen burner science makes your coffee. It's really cool. I paid for my meal. True. You paid. Yes. Well, and I always respect your ability and concern and care for the servers to give them the quality and the what they would have gotten. That you're not chinsing them out on anything. I actually very much respect you for doing that. All right. So adult Disney. So someone else mentioned this to me, the Epcot, the Food and Wine Festivals. Now, I've not been to one of those yet, and my timing is just so that I'm just going to miss the Flower and Garden, which makes me sad. I would love to be able to enjoy one of those one year. But so you've got Flower and Garden, and that is, they do a lot of wine flights in the different countries and through different booths. Even on top of the standard drinking around the world, these are activities you can do as adults. Obviously, that you're not going to do as kids. Even some of the rides, when you talk about ride heights and things like that, you're looking at things that adults can do that kids can't. What do we got here? Yeah, food and wine. I wanted to do food and wine. I wish I could. Now, granted, what I've learned from looking at a lot of the other vloggers is that food and wine, they have very, very limited gluten-free food options. Like the holiday kitchens, which we did experience this year, there were 10 pop-up booths, and I think there were 5 things I could actually eat out of all 10 of those in terms of food. I mean, alcohol, there were other things I could have, but there was like a ham with green beans and sweet potatoes I could have. There were, and because I also have the shrimp allergy, so it limited me on a couple of those. They had pupusas, I think they were pupusas. It was something flat, kind of corn cakey desserts. Arepas, that's what it was. Arepas that that they had, and then there was a sort of a cooked casserole thing. They were all in the Latin kitchen. So there were three things at the Latin kitchen, one of which I couldn't have because of the shrimp. There was the ham thing. Oh, and yeah, and there was a rice pudding and one other thing. Yeah, you know, it wasn't fabulous, but that's okay. Epcot topiary is nice in Flower and Garden. Yeah, and the chimichurri beef from Argentina. Ooh, that sounds yummy. So I love kind of doing Epcot and talking to the people from the countries, learning about the countries. To me, that's where I'm happiest. You know, yeah, you know, I looked at, like, as I'm plotting through my new schedule coming up, there's an extra magic hours morning that I'll go and just get on Test Track and Soarin'. Just Test Track and Soarin', because they're the ones I really want to do. And then I'm leaving and I'm going to Animal Kingdom to go do other stuff. You know, so just do the 1 hour there, get the two big rides out of the way before the rest of the world comes in, and leave the park and just head over, you know, from bus to bus over to Animal Kingdom, do some stuff there, head over to Sanaa because I've been dying to try Sanaa. And the middle block of the day is kind of, I'm not sure yet, and then I'll hit Magic Kingdom in the evening. Another way to have fewer kids, Magic Kingdom after 10 o'clock at night. So especially when the park is open till at least midnight, or during Christmas till 1 a.m. Find out what time the fireworks are. Come in at the end of the fireworks. We have done it where, because even when they had parades frequently, they would, after the fireworks show, even if the park is still open, people with kids, good, we saw the fireworks, let's go. And you will be a salmon swimming upstream initially to get past all the people who are leaving to go to their hotel rooms. But once you've done that, wow, you walk onto rides. Or if I mean, we walked onto, there was 1 year we walked onto the Pirates, literally 10 minutes, but that's to walk down to the ride. Got on the ride, got off the ride, turned around and walked back in. We did it 3 times in a row. This was with Lance. Okay, well, Susan, yes, thank you. And we'll talk more later. Enjoy our time with the cast more than most things. Yeah, again, adult experiences and life experience conversations, let them break from the script. Yeah, and having conversations. Now, when you're working with the with the characters, and you're doing, you play, and you knowingly play, and you're both kind of knowingly play, but you play and you make the whole, you know, I've talked dingle hoppers with Ariel. I've talked about hair maintenance with Rapunzel. Dingle hoppers are forks, which she uses as a comb, before anyone gets any weird. So let's see. So that way too much of it is because we're cast. Exactly, Joe. I always show Tink mustard seed. So that's, you know, it's here, family, we're going to share. Yeah, exactly. You know, you understand that concept of putting on the face, the professionalism involved in that, and then just kind of having fun without it. And you know, making connections. I talk to strangers in every line I'm in. And I will play with kids, and I'm not afraid of kids, but there is nothing to say that Disney cannot be for adults. You know, I know people have said to me, "Oh my God, Disney no, that's for kids. Why would you go there?" You know, you don't have to do the characters. I don't mind talking to the characters, but you don't have to do the characters. You know, oh, okay, other things that are really cool, not necessarily for adults, but in Animal Kingdom, if you're walking around, you will see artisans doing their art. Was a gentleman who was just very ornately carving animals into a stick. And then you look at the side and you see all the sticks of all the stuff he'd been carving. So he is a true artisan in that kind of skill work. And you can talk to them, have a conversation, find out about how they do it, what the culture is, learn about their country and what they do, because they're all from their countries. Well, everyone's from their, you know what I mean, but they're from the sort of countries in Africa or in Asia, etc. What do we got here? To engage with performance, but I was thinking with the bartenders. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. And I am notorious for going to Epcot and going to Italy in Epcot and talking to the Italians and talking about, you know, what I experienced when I was there and where they're from. And I fight against everything not to go into an Italian accent, because, oh dear God, I fight against everything not going into an Italian accent. Because it's fun. And it's reflex. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it immensely. So, talking to cast, talking to bartenders, yeah, and finding out what the world is like. In 2002 when I went out there, I remember going to Mama Melrose's and having a chat with my waiter. Ended up going and hanging out with him after work because I'd make conversations with strangers. Italy, France, Canada. No, Canada. We hadn't been to a real Italy. Oh, right. Of course, yeah, and I haven't been to Britain, but yeah, I got into conversations, and of course, one of my friends accused me of flirting. I'm like, no, this is me having a fun conversation with someone. No, you're flirting. No, I'm having a fun conversation with someone. I happen to really love what they're talking about, but that's it. So, other things for adults, and if you guys have something you can think of that I have not mentioned, throw it out. Like I said, I was less prepared today. It was a last minute topic, and then I got kind of thrown off of my schedule. I mean, literally, I came in, my coat is on the floor, my purse is on the floor, I'm upstairs, my cats are trying to figure out why I just ran past them. And I have my hot chocolate from this morning, which is now cold chocolate with a shot of espresso. Trying to think. So let's see. So you've got the drinking around the world, you've got the drinking around the monorail, or drinking around the loop between Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Now that one I've not done yet, and that will take, because there are restaurants I haven't seen. I haven't been in the Swan or the Dolphin. You also have the Beach Club. You also have the Boardwalk, and I have drunk at the Boardwalk at the Abracadabra. But that's another walk/loop I think I want to attempt at some point, depending on how much time I have. What do we got, Joe? Oh, that sounds really nice. Yeah, I mean, and again, like mini golf is technically a kid's activity, but it's not. You can make it whatever you want it to be. The only places I know where kids are not allowed to be, like at Victoria and Albert, you have to be 12 years or older. You're not allowed in if you're under 12 years old. So it allows you that quiet, mature. You've got a harp music playing. Now there are 3 places you can eat there, and Drew and I ate in the main area. The next area up is the Queen's Room, which is like only 6 tables, I think, or 8 tables total. The main room has maybe 20 tables, and not even, maybe 15 tables. The back room has, I think, 6 or 8 tables, and then there's the chef's table, which can seat up to 8 people. And that is the cider at UK. They had pear cider. They didn't have apple, which surprised the heck out of me, Joe. So yeah. At UK, I will get the pear cider because that's what they have, but at the stand. But no, I much prefer apple. And while I am not a fan of cooked strawberry flavor with the lime in it, that strawberry lime one was so refreshing. It was pretty amazing. Well, good. There you go. So there, you and Sid can have pear cider, or whatever you want to drink there. I'm starting to learn to appreciate Irish, not Scotch, but Irish. So but I don't think they have shots of that they sell over there, which is kind of a shame because that would be kind of nice. So coming into the parks after the fireworks, yeah, all the kids are going home to sleep, and you are pretty much in an adult crowd, still going on the ride you want to go on. They have also started, and if I didn't mention this earlier, please let me know, what they call after hours. You pay more for it. It's like, I think annual pass holders pay $99 or $95, and non-pass holders pay like $130, and it includes breakfast in the morning if you get the morning one, which is like an hour or 2, and it includes ice cream and popcorn and sodas, unlimited, at the stands that are still open. If you do the nighttime ones, which they have at Magic Kingdom and at Animal Kingdom, and I think they're starting some of those at Hollywood Studios as well. So you could not go to the park all day and then just go in for this after hours experience and pay for that. And you're walking onto rides. And again, because it's after hours, the morning one may or may not be the case. But then, if you've got a family of 4, you're paying $400 for this 2-hour block of time to be able to walk on the rides. It may or may not be as useful to them. So you're seeing fewer kids in those. But the nighttime ones, for sure, you're going to have less kids. Because say the park closes at 8, and then you've got 8 to 10 or 8 to 11, that it's this very limited group of people. So even if there are kids, it's not too bad. Quick service, unfortunately, is you're going to get a lot of families if you don't want them around. But every restaurant, with the exception of those two, you had a lot of variety. Part of me is like, lines in England are so huge, hasn't been enough to bring us. We need to. It's what to go drink in England. I've drunk in England. Have you? I guess we didn't get the whole second half of that curve this last time there, Drew. We stopped Japan, and then so we didn't do Morocco. We technically came back and did France. We didn't do England. Morocco, France. Oh, and Canada. We didn't do Canada. Although we ate in Canada, so we drank in Canada. So really Morocco was the only place that we did not drink at all. Lines and this, I think we were waiting for the Toy Story work to all finish, shortage of attractors. Yeah, I mean, and truth be told, like I will probably try Slinky Dog Dash again. It was not my favorite, but I would do it to try to go see the Galaxy's Edge visual stuff, because the musical performances in the street in a few areas. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yes, and the entertainment changes. Now, one of my friends, and Joe, you'll probably know her, Laura Ingalls, used to perform in the SAC Theater that they do. And SAC Theater was a company that came in there and did these little 3-person street shows where they bring people out of the audience. That started from a Ren Fair and improv comedy based world. Went in, got hired, and Disney kept the rights to the shows they wrote. We're not going to go any farther into that. But so SAC Theater, and they continued to do some of the shows or similar versions of the shows, and then let the other people go. Yes, Maid Marian, exactly. And yes, she was the assistant director on Lights, Camera, Action. She got Scott and myself and Lance and a mutual friend in to see the show in the VIP seats in the middle. It was very fun. And then we got to go backstage. I got to touch Herbie the Love Bug. Tours. Yes, kids can go on some of the tours, but they don't do a whole lot of them. You can also do a VIP experience, which is going to be stupidly expensive to have you and your group get taken through wherever you want to do. But a lot of the tours aren't of interest to the kids. You don't necessarily want them to go backstage. The Utilidors tour. And actually, I think there's an age limit on the Utilidors tour. I think it's at least 10. It might be 12, because Disney doesn't want them to see the broken magic. So, you get a much more limited age range at those. All right, I'm missing some stuff here. Good afternoon, Sonic the Hedgehog. So to keys and backstage. You've done 2. Okay, yeah, and I've done a couple ones. We did the VIP the VIP Adventures tour. We've done the Wild Africa Trek with Drew. I've also done the Behind the Seeds. Drew did that one in Epcot. I've also done Backstage Tales, which is the Animal Kingdom one. I've done the Marceline to Main Street, and I've done Keys to the Kingdom. And I've done the Decorations tour. I'm thinking of adding in an Epcot tour, because I haven't the ones either Future World or the Countries. They do a couple tours of those that I'm curious about. There's a longer Magic Kingdom tour I'm not dying to do yet, although it'd be kind of fun. But there's all kinds of neat experiences. What do we got? No strollers in the Wild Africa Trek. That is right. Yes, anywhere where you can't do ECVs, you can't do strollers, you're not going to have kids. We did have a kid with us, but he was probably about 10, at least 10, maybe 12, in that range, so he was very well behaved, because you have to be, they're carbining you into stuff so you don't fall into the hippo enclosure and stuff like that, because, hey, you become food. Keys to the Kingdom. Ooh, Epcot tours. Yes, there are 2 Epcot tours. We considered doing, sorry, my foot just hit there. We considered doing the Epcot tours, but we did not get to them this last time, and we may continue to do them. I don't know who I lost. I don't know if we lost Joe. I guess we lost Joe. I'm not sure. They've cut the Segway riding tour, is my understanding. I didn't see it in the descriptions if you look on their site now. And they do have a Star Wars experience thing going on right now, but we all know that's going to change when and we know Hollywood Studios is definitely going to be doing some expansion on those nighttime extra hours. The one thing I will say I'm really excited about when I go back in June is the fireworks show. We'll be back to the Star Wars fireworks show. I'm really excited. I really like this, at least in its initial incarnation, and maybe not as much, but still pretty much in the second incarnation. That Star Wars fireworks show is probably the best fireworks show I had ever seen on Disney property. I've seen parts of Happily Ever After. I think that's the one that's going on right now. It's based a lot on the projections. I am more fascinated by the timing and the storyline and how the image on the image that you see on the projected item is reflected in the activity. You know, like you see two people fighting with the lightsaber, and then you see the sparks coming off as fireworks. You know, I mean, just brilliantly clever stuff. Oh, you had a network hiccup. Well, welcome back. You're not counting in my numbers, but glad to see you're here. Please capture as much as you can. I will. Oh, yeah. For the fireworks, I will try. I mean, I may record it and then let you see it. I won't be able to post it all. I think I can only do, if I'm doing it with sound, I can only do 20 seconds. If I'm doing it without sound, you know, copyright issues, then I'm going to limit it. All right, I'm having a sip of this finally because it's somewhere down to here now. Chocolate. So do you guys have any questions about adult stuff? Let me clarify. Do you have any questions about adult activities at Disney? Yes, absolutely. Mr. Joe, Disneyland shows have gotten very good in that type of coordination. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Fantasmic at Disneyland is better than Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios. Like if I go back to Disneyland, I absolutely will go see Fantasmic. I will. I saw World of Color last time I was there, but I was sad that I missed Fantasmic. And I would go out of my way to sit down in Adventureland and wait, or Frontierland, I guess it is, and sit against the water area and just wait for the fireworks. But I have the opportunity to go see Fantasmic again in Hollywood Studios, and it's in an amphitheater, and it's just, it loses some of the coolness, the atmospheric experience of just being within the park and then having it happen in front of you, rather than sitting in a theater and waiting for an hour, because if you want to be able to see anything, you got to get there early, and you're going to wait for an hour. And it makes me sad. It makes me sad. Yeah, I know. I that's why I clarified that question, Drew, because I know my audience. And then if we're talking adults, I mean, we were specifically talking Disney originally, but I can also, Beast Castle is a kid-friendly lunch spot, but the dinner we had. It is still because it's Beauty and the Beast. It is very much actually a family experience, including the meeting the Beast. So we were lucky that we sat in that side room, and I know a lot of people don't like to sit in that side room, but you know what? It wasn't an echo chamber. The time I sat in that center room, that meal, between the poor quality of the food that night and the bizarre ambient constant noise from families, I won't do dinner there again, and I will only do lunch if it's absolute necessity. There are better places for me to eat, you know. Even Pecos Bill would have been better for me to eat. Yeah, it had been closed. Tom Sawyer Island, I want to get back to. They opened it during the holidays. I think they've closed it back up again, but I'm curious to. Aunt Polly's over there, I should say. But I would love to go back, and as a child, I was terrified of it. I really was, because Injun Joe and all the stuff that you watched as you were a kid in the movies. So yeah, it scared me, and of course my brother liked to encourage that fear in me because he's my brother. The boats are back. Oh, you mean in Disneyland? Yeah, that is my understanding. But because they don't go during Fantasmic. Fireworks ahead of you. Oh yeah, one of my favorite places to watch fireworks. And this isn't necessarily adult only, but on the bridge to Be Our Guest, which you can only get to if you're having dinner there, sadly. But you could stand just at the edge of the bridge and you'd still get that experience, because the main fireworks are shot off behind Beast's castle. And then you've got fireworks that are shot off at Cinderella's castle. So you could literally be standing and have like everywhere you turn is fireworks. It's insane. You miss the projections, but I kind of prefer that space. You're also less crowded because not the whole world is there watching the pictures on the. Sorry, my knee keeps kicking that thing. Longing for the extra availability of the gondolas. Yeah, now I don't know if you've seen the video footage lately. The gondolas are now. They started testing them, I think, last week, and they were going very slow, testing the track, and then 2 days ago they started testing them at full speed. Those suckers move at a pretty quick pace. But they were only doing like 3 or 4 that they were testing just to check the weight, etc., with nobody in it, and they're wrapped, so you still can't see what they look like. And honestly, that's probably so they don't get scratched up. They've only done it, I think it was over at Hollywood Studios to whatever the first resort is where they hit. That's that initial track section. Because if you look at the design of how the gondolas are going to go, you've got Epcot down here, Hollywood Studios over here. I think it's Caribbean Beach Resort, Art of Animation. It's basically a T shape, from what I remember. Okay, and you're going to have, and they were basically checking this section and running the gondolas to test it. But you've got all of this, and there's changeovers. So they're supposed to be opening the fall this year. I don't know. I'm guessing it's early fall, so they can get everything up, running, and stable before they open Star Wars Land, which will be probably right before Christmas. Like, I'm guessing the week before Christmas or something, or if they're lucky, maybe early December. But that's their game plan. The Columbia and the Liberty are part of the. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I forgot they were. Yeah, because the book comes out on the 1. Right. I saw. This will give you an idea of how long ago I saw it, Joe. I was dating Patrick. Yeah, it's been a while. Considering that Patrick and I broke up before we started performing together. So yeah. At age 4 on the island. Yeah. Like I said, age 7, I was on the island. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few years. Though I really enjoyed Liberty Square. Now, and the most recent time I went back was with Sunny. And but we didn't do Fantastic. I also met Jim and Kelly of Noble fame, which Joe knows, but Drew does not. And we had a lovely time there. But I'd also never, at that point, I'd never seen California Adventure, so we spent a bunch of time over there, and a bunch of that's changed too with Bugs Land coming out, which I'm glad I got to experience, changing over into Pixar Place, and I think the little like I guess the Lifty Dumbo version ride kind of thing that they had in Bugs Land, I think is being transformed right now into an Inside Out ride and being moved to the other side of the park. It's not up yet, as far as I know. But that looks like a lot of fun. So we are coming up on an hour. I can continue to ramble about this stuff because, hey, it's Disney and I can do that. But I want to take any questions from you guys, any other things you're curious about or thoughts you want to throw in here, things you find of interest. And thank you guys for coming in. They escorted us on our Disneyland trips. Only didn't get to see Tom, Carolyn in 15 because they were on their second honeymoon in Paris. Oh, okay. Yeah, they took you around. Oh, yeah. And actually, we had dinner with Tom and Carolyn at Carthay Circle. Now, the day I got there was when they had opened Soarin', and that's where Tom worked at the time. So, yeah, that was quite the experience. The first experience at Disneyland, Paul Revere and the Riders. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I the first time I went to Disneyland, I was dating Patrick. Disney World, I was 7, and then I went back for grad night and a day in Epcot and a day at Wild World during my senior trip in high school. So that was at 18, and then I went back in the year 2002 twice because my company had their meeting in Orlando, and this year the meeting's going to be over in Tampa. So when the meeting is over this June, it's like the Super Bowl guys, you just won the Super Bowl. Now what are you going to do? They usually said Disneyland, but I think it's now Disney World. Well, I'm going to finish a long meeting, and then where am I going to go? So I'm going to be heading out to the Land o' the Mouse to chill. And that first day is all Disney Springs. Once I get out, is chilling. In 80, most of the shows were in Tomorrowland. There was an amphitheater. Oh, yeah. I saw the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids area. That still existed when I was there back then. And that was the first time I went on Star Tours and got wildly nauseated on it. And there was a Michael Jackson show out there too. I think Captain EO was out there before. Hello, Google, Google. You have to tell me which one you saw. My only school trip was in 85. Yep, that was my one only experience of the water parks. You're talking in Disney World, Drew. The two water parks they have are Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. And I think Typhoon Lagoon is the older one. So maybe that's the one you went to. I don't think it had a goofy name back then, but it might have. I'm not wildly aware of it. I love the Muppets 3D. I know it's been around forever, and I know it needs some upgrades, but it's true Muppets. This is my pet peeve: is the Muppets as they exist now are not what I think Jim Henson would have wanted. Because if you look at the purity of the heart of the characters, the generosity of the characters, there is a change in them in the new movies. They're much snarkier. They're more, I don't want to say savvy, because they were never necessarily stupid, but they're more like, I know, versus, really? You know, it's a very different energy, a different understanding. Yes. And I just, and I miss that. You know, Statler and Waldorf were your snarky characters, and everybody else had heart. And I miss that, because I don't see enough of that in those characters anymore. Yes, Muppets, great moments in history, but just the American parts. And they had 2 of those shows, and I don't know who the other one was. Oh, River Country? Okay, yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, exactly. And actually, that's from what I read, that is why Frank Oz did not do the movies, the new Muppet movies. He read the script and went, this is not who they were. I can't be part of this. So they all left out. Yeah, because it's this modern, hey, we're cool sensibility that is not, the Muppets were for kids. Well, the Muppets were more adult versions, but they came out of this sense of joy and wonder and innocence and light. And I just don't see the new, like the Muppet TV show that they tried to make their own comic version of The Office. Everyone's like sort of voce under their breaths, talking to people or whatever. It doesn't have that joy, that innocence, that lightness that existed if you look at the old content versus the new content and how things are addressed. You know, like Doc Hopper tries to kill Kermit, and his response is, can't we just all get along? I don't understand. Whereas now it would be like, well, you're being mean. Oh, well, maybe we just want to cut your, I mean, it's just different. It makes me unhappy. So off of the sad Muppet conversations, because I will rant and rave about that and about Tim Burton directing and things like that for ad nauseum if you get me going. Yeah, I know. We have left. I know. I continue to learn. This is. Oh, well, thank you. I hope I have fun facts. So, all right, back to adults. So does anyone have any questions, since that was the theme officially of today? Any questions that I have not covered about doing adult activities, or if Disney is good for adults, et cetera, et cetera? Let me know here. Yeah, the kids today haven't, unless you show them all of it, they may or may not pick up on it. We just don't know. Yeah. So we're just over an hour. Questions, comments, final thoughts from everybody. Disney is like Grand Fest for those of you who are on that same world. It can be a totally different experience depending on your age group, depending on your interests, depending on what you love. And when you walk in, you never necessarily know what you're going to get, but you can shape it. You can make it something very special. Disney World's Magic Kingdom had a no alcohol policy. Oh, okay. So yes. So for the longest time, there was no alcohol, and then Be Our Guest opened. And at dinner only, they offered wine. And you couldn't take it out, but you could have it there. That did well. So now all of the sit-down restaurants, Jungle Skipper Canteen, Liberty Tree Tavern, Be Our Guests, Tony's Town Square, all allow you to buy alcohol in the restaurant. And it is not just wine and beer. Now it is mixed cocktail drinks. Jungle Skipper Canteen had a kick-ass sangria, which I was surprised by. Now, some sangrias I like, some I don't. Theirs is pretty fabulous, just as a side note. So Be Our Guest was dinner only originally. Now they all have it all day, and they only do lunch, dinner. Be Our Guest does breakfast. And I have to look to see if Be Our Guest does alcohol at lunch. I have to check that. I'm not positive on that one. I think they do. I don't think they do it at breakfast, and I don't think any of them do it at breakfast. But so you have that option for you, and it sounds like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland is going to have a cantina that's going to have alcoholic beverages, which means Disneyland, the only holdout, is about to have alcohol in the parks. We'll see what that means. That's a even bigger deal now, because that is the only one that doesn't have it. You know, I mean, California Experience, California Adventure definitely does. So this one doesn't, and this is going to be kind of interesting. Dinner, not the Goofy dinner. Oh, the Diamond Horseshoe. I don't believe Diamond Horseshoe has it listed. I think it's just the 4 that I mentioned. If they do, it would just be the generic beer wine kind of thing, like the Hoop-de-Doo musical review over at the Wilderness Lodge, which has been the same show since it started, which is fine. It's probably fabulous. I have not sat down and done that dinner theater experience, but they give you unlimited beer, wine, or sangria. I think, yeah, not cocktails, but it's like a beer wine option kind of thing, so you can have that. Yes, you can have. Well, all right. So the reason you don't find alcohol at Port Orleans in the morning is because Sassagoula is quick service, and the quick services don't generally have booze in them. I don't remember if like they take away beverages if you can buy a closed bottle of kind of thing, but they generally don't have it. The pool bar either opens at 10 or 11, and that's when you would be able to start having alcohol, and closes at 7:30, I believe, at least at Port Orleans. Polynesian bar, the Tambu Lounge, opens at 2. The sushi bar opens at 4, and I think that's when Trader Sam's opens, or maybe a little bit earlier, actually. And again, I'm not perfect on this because my research got screwed up. Grand Floridian, bars don't open until at least 4. Contemporary California Grill doesn't open until 4, but California Grill, you can get mimosas. Like if you want to do one of the fancy sit-down ones where they have a brunch, yeah, you probably can get a mimosa. And the resorts do not have that same restriction on the alcohol at all. You can do anywhere you have a table service sit-down outside of the parks. They generally will have that option for something like a Bloody Mary or a mimosa or something of the sort. Oh, well, yeah, the spreadsheets come out of me going, we want to go to that park. Ooh, how early can I go there? Going to the Disney site, going, oh, it opens at 11 o'clock. Okay, well, then we'll plug it in at 11 o'clock when it opens. And I actually had to start doing a lot of that where, so the trip I'm doing, I've got, like I said, that one day I'm doing the hour at Epcot, then I'm going to take the bus over to Animal Kingdom. At Animal Kingdom, I want to do Dinosaur Safari and Kali, which are not going to be the big popular rides, so I should be able to get through those pretty quickly, especially if I fast pass 2 of them. And then at 11:30, Nomad Lounge opens. So I'm going to head over there as soon as I can once I finish the other experiences, chill out there, and get churros and a drink. And then I may see Nemo, I'm not sure. And then I'll go hop on the bus to Animal Kingdom Lodge because it's close. Wander there, go to Kidani Village for Sanaa, have lunch there at 2. And then I've got this block of time. I'm not positive. I may explore there. I may go to Magic Kingdom early. I may pick up a totally different experience. I haven't decided yet. And then I've got dinner at the Jungle Skipper Canteen at 7:45. So I've got from like 3 to 7 o'clock where it's kind of floaty. And I may leave it that way. I may go to Disney Springs. I have no idea what I'm going to do. It's going to be fun. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm the queen of reorganizing and redating stuff. The Oscar Travel Legends can give you a spreadsheet that you can use to make your reservations. Yeah, that's what I do, Joe. I am my own Disney travel agent spreadsheet. In fact, with the travel agent I worked with to set this up had commented, she's like, well, I can help you make these fast passes, and I'm like, oh no, I'll be up at 7. It's fine. Because I meticulously schedule through. Now, when I schedule these things, and I've mentioned this before, I will tentatively schedule out within an inch of its life what a day could be. And actually, there's a guy, I think by the name of Sam Mealy, who I've been starting to follow some blogs of, and his advice, especially when you go by yourself, is put everything down with exact detail, make an exact schedule out, and then throw it out the window. And that's exactly what I do. Is you say, all right, in the perfect world, if everything were to go exactly as I wanted it to go, this is the order I would like to see things happen. For me, that means minimizing walking between attractions. That means giving myself enough time to get through it, but have some non-rush time if I have to stop for the bathroom, or I want to chill for a minute, or whatever goes wrong. But you time out all that thing kind of perfectly so that there's leeway. And then when you get there, if you go, I don't want to do that right now, or, oh God, that line looks far worse than I expected, or I'm not feeling it, I don't want to. You adjust. And you have fun. You play it by ear. Oh, I do the fast pass. Oh no, it's not a phone call, Joe. You can do it on your computer. My Disney Experience app. I do all of it. I book it on the computer, and it's takes me like 5 minutes. I start at 7 o'clock as soon as the second I'm allowed to book them. And my trick, by the way, if you're staying on property, so you can book like all 6 days or all 3 days or whatever at once, is book your last day first and get the really hard to get rides, which would be Flight of Passage, Slinky Dog Dash, and coming up soon will be the Star Wars stuff. So you can book those and then work your way forward. And you might not get the best things, but Haunted Mansion you can pretty much get, especially if you're doing 60 days out. Disneyland, yeah, well, because Disneyland's not the same. Disneyland is, and I love the Park Hopper, and I love their version of Express Passes. Although they do now a Max Pass, which is even fancier, and is sort of the line between Fast Pass and the My Disney Experience band type stuff. Fast Pass Plus, I guess they call it. I love the old Fast Passes. Drew and I, when it was still the old system, got a rainy day in Magic Kingdom, and between Fast Passes and my plotting and timing, we did the entirety of Fantasyland, I think, in 2 hours. Yeah, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train wasn't open back then, but we did all of the old Fantasyland was like 2 hours. We've got a Fast Pass for one, and they were giving you extra Fast Passes for rides that didn't, or experiences that didn't have a whole lot. So yeah, it was a hoot. It was so much fun. Yeah, if you want them to do it, that's fine. They can do it. The thing I liked about me doing it is if I go, oh crap, well, I can't get that one at that exact time. So, if I can suss my own schedule out because I know what my game plan is better. Now, if you want them to create your entirety of your itinerary, you can throw it out the window, then fine, let them do it. But I like to have that hair more of control because I know walking distance, I know plans. If you say to them, I want these 3 Fast Passes today, and they go, well, that one's going to be at 7 o'clock and at night, and this one's going to be at 3. They may make them for you with what they can get, but that may not really be conducive to the best plan for you. So it's catch as catch can. It is still flawed, and sometimes things are glitchy. You are correct. Oh yeah, the games were fun except when they didn't work. The Soaring game did not work at all for us. We were very unhappy about that. Lives thematically extend to the experience. Yes. Yeah, it was network. I know I've seen people get the Soarin' app to work, so it exists. Wasn't for us, but it exists. All right, pardon me, another sip. But yeah, I definitely recommend if you're getting ready to go to Disney coming up, I recommend going into, creating your My Disney Experience account. Make sure you download that app to your phone for all of the parks, for Disneyland, Disney World. Download that app. Also, if you're going to have Wiggles with you, do the down the Play app for your phones, because there are games you can play while you're stuck in line, especially in Peter Pan and in Soarin', as long as it works, because I had connectivity issues, but you may not. And that can be very helpful. But plan a trip early. So doing the 30 days out, go ahead and go say, if I was booking 30 days, what would the Fast Passes be? And then you kind of can get a feel for what you'd be looking at. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting experience to say the least. So, and the next trip I'm coming out for is going to be near Galaxy's Edge time. So it's going to be very interesting. Yes, there are charging stations like over at Rapunzel's area. There are plugs where you can USB plug in. There's another area up in the back of Magic Kingdom where the Donald Duck, Daisy, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy meet and greets are, because Mickey got moved out of there. Oh no, Minnie got moved out of there. So it's Daisy and Goofy, Donald. No, Daisy and Pluto, Donald and Goofy, I think, are the four in there now. The Silly Sideshow. In that area, there's also another rest area charging station. It's not indoors, but it is another one. Also in Epcot, Innoventions. I don't know which is west, which is east. If you're walking in and the ball is here, and that way is Mission Space, and that way is the land, you're going to go that way. And behind the character spot, there's a near Club Cool. If you enter in there, there's bathrooms that don't get used as much, so they no lines and don't smell as bad, etc. And then there's a whole kind of sit down area with tables and some electro plugs you can plug in and charge there. My phone, which you may or may not be able to see based on all of this, has what's called a Mophie case on it. And it has, ooh, look at that, all that charge. And this will be over, this is like 2.5 charges. So I can run this battery out twice and still have more charge. And then in addition, bring the little chargers, or Drew had a really high energy one that really, that while we were sitting down at a meal, you plugged it in and you just charged it in the room overnight. So that gives you a bunch of options. But yeah, you definitely need some charging assistance there. So I'm thinking we've kind of talked that yes, Disney is good for adults. Yes, you can have a just adult trip without a problem. If you do bring kids and you want an adult night, there are babysitting services. There are a couple places, I think it's like $65 where you can take your kids and then go spend the evening out. And I think it's like from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock or something like that. Or you can drop them off at 5 or 5:30, and it's like a block of time where there's games for them to play and interactive stuff to do. So they can be occupied and being watched while you're off having a really nice dinner. So you could do a Victorian Albert's and still bring a kid. I do not know what the age limitation on that is. There also are like teen activities. I know on the cruises they do teen activities. I'm not positive what they would be because I haven't been a teen in that area in a long time. Anyway, so activity rooms, yeah. Yeah, and actually in your resorts, you'll have stuff like that too, but you don't necessarily have a person there watching your kid, whereas the Contemporary has one. They used to have one at the Poly, but it's not there anymore, I believe. Actually, that one was really cool. Our friends, Lori Monty, ended up sending their little one into that one time, and it was themed to Peter Pan, and they basically were going into Neverland, and to get into it, the kid had to go on a slide and slide into the Neverland area. The parents weren't even allowed in. So it was like just the kids, and the parents go one way and the kid goes and plays, and then they pick them up. And I think 10 or 10:30 was the cutoff to pick up kids. But you get an adult night, so you can have that experience and you can do what you want to do. Because they want it to be for everyone. It is not just an amusement park. It is a resort. So they are trying to accommodate all levels of entertainment, etc. Now, we haven't really touched on Universal, which I was going to talk briefly about. Now, they have City Walk out there. As far as I know, they do not have any adults. Oh, no, I take that back. In City Walk, there are some bars and clubs and things that I believe are 21 and only, and they're nightclubs. Upstairs at City Walk area. If you're at the parks and you're looking into City Walk toward the parking, most of them are up this way. But there are definitely old videos. Yeah. Oh God, that video arcade was amazing. I mean, crazy. And they had massage chairs there too. Who'd have thunk? But yeah, they had games like huge like wall-size versions of Centipede and Pac-Man and things like that. They had a Star Wars game in there. I did some walk-around video of that in one of my vlogs. I think it was day two or day 3. I was in the dress. So that would have been the night we did Flying Fish, I believe. So yes, day 2. If you look at the end of the day 2 vlog, you'll see some of that. Now, I did most of that walking. take it back. You'll see it on the Facebook post from that day, because I did most of the walking around on a Facebook live chat, so you can see all the stuff and who I was talking to. So I think we're going to call it for today, because this is, I mean, it's been lovely and I can ramble for hours, but I don't want to just, hog up all of YouTube's time. So if you have questions, if something comes up, questions about adult activities at Disney, you can always post a comment. If this has been helpful to you, please go ahead and like. You're welcome to subscribe, so you'll get notifications when I post here, when I do live chat. I'm going to try to look at doing some more traditional postings. And where in the hell, I don't know where she is, Drew. You'll have to yell at her. I'll post about it, and then you can tag her, or I can tag her later. But at least you've been in this, Drew. You still exist in this, and that's really all she needs. Yeah, like I said, like this if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want more content from me on this kind of stuff. Disney Universal, I may talk Renfest stuff at some point too, but I'll always try to tag with what topic it is, so you can watch or ignore should you like. Thank you for the like, whoever just did that. Comment, subscribe, visit, have fun, learn, be fruitful, and multiply, because that's what being adult is about. I don't know. Okay. On that note, thank you guys very much. And you can yell at Julie later. We're going to say goodbye for now. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you next time.